is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. Real, present God. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. Real, present God. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Real, present God. Come, behold the works of the Lord, how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes war cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Real, present God. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Real, present God. Real, present God. Real, present God.
My message series this summer has been Big Questions, but we were at the National Youth Gathering this past week, and I want to talk a little bit about that experience. The theme was Real, Present God, if you didn't figure that out already. Dan, Rachel, I think I saw Tommy over here. Tommy, you want to come forward? Skylar, if you want to come forward. Dorian here? All right. My daughter, she's homesick with 102 fever, so she's not here today. But come forward here. We had 7 of us in total. Also, Linda came with together with Lily, the comfort dog. We had Ashley as our district coordinator, who sat at the New Jersey district booth and shared all about our great state of New Jersey. But I want to take a moment here to recognize especially Dan and Rachel. Preparation for this gathering, it's not just weeks, it's not just months, it is years, literally, of preparation. This event comes around every 3 years, and you know what? We're already starting to prepare and plan for the next gathering that's going to be in Houston, Texas in 2022. But Dan and Rachel, they were gracious enough to come and serve as chaperones during this trip. And you know what? They didn't get paid. In fact, that money out of their own pockets to go on this event. And beyond that, they gave up vacation time to go and to serve as chaperones and to help our youth participate in this event. So I just want to take a moment and just recognize them and thank them for their sacrificial service to make this happen. And Rachel makes a very good mama hen. We got our lunch money. So I got a little something for you to go out to dinner together, where you can have peace and quiet together alone, and you don't have to be telling kids fries are not enough.
Make sure they eat their hot dogs, take bites,
So again, thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you.
As I said, the theme for the week was Real, Present God. It was based upon Psalm 46, a popular psalm. It is actually the psalm upon which our song, our hymn, Martin Luther's hymn, A Mighty Fortress. That's the psalm that it is based upon. Our God is present. Our God is real. Our God is God, and there is no other God like him. But we live in a world that is filled with struggles. And while we were at the gathering, we heard about some of those struggles in the lives of others while recognizing our own struggles that we have in our own lives. We heard from Kristen Decker. She shared how she was bullied in school, how she was told that she was fat, that she was ugly, and how she should kill herself. She struggled as a result because of this bullying with an eating disorder. She was also suicidal, and she was hospitalized. But we also heard how Jesus helped her in her time of need, and how she, with the help of Jesus, overcame the suicidal thoughts, overcame the eating disorder because of a real present God in her life who shared and showed his presence even through the times she doubted. We also heard from Jason Seaman. He was a highly sought-after football recruit. All the Division I schools wanted him. That was until his senior year in high school when he blew his knee out. And then no one wanted him. And he struggled with that. But his greatest challenge would come as a high school teacher in Indiana when one of his own students entered the classroom with the intention of killing as many people as possible. The first person he shot was Jason Seaman himself. He was shot 3 times, but instinctively, Jason tackled the shooter, holding him down while having been shot. And that day, no one died. Jason, he was a real hero. Speaking of which, next Sunday, right here, we have active shooter training. It's today? Okay, it's today. So ushers, deacons, and anyone else, this is for everybody, because these things happen in classrooms, these things happen in places of work, in businesses, and churches, unfortunately, and it would all do us well to be more aware of the things happening around us. But with that said, Jason, he credits God's help, God's strength in that time to save the lives that he saved. And there was Emily Stooksbury, and many of you may recognize Emily there on the right as the daughter of Greg Finke, joining Jesus on his mission, the book many of us read and participated in. This was his daughter who was one of the MCs for the youth gathering, and she shared how a best friend in high school was killed in a car accident. And coping with her grief, she found hope. She found help, trusting through the struggle in a real present God. And there was Harry Grimes, we heard from him as well, who shared how he did everything to be a faithful follower of Jesus. And yet tragedy upon tragedy happened in his life. The loss of his mother, the loss of a brother who he was close to. And he questioned how would he ever move forward. But again, he found hope. He found help in a real present God. The thing is about the struggle, the challenges, the suffering that we face in life, the struggle is real. And while there was much fun and there was much celebrating at the gathering, we heard testimony after testimony how oftentimes the struggle and the suffering in life seems more real than God. The world beats us and breaks us down. We begin to doubt that God is present with us. We think if God was present with us, there wouldn't be the bullying in the schools. If God was present with us, there wouldn't be shootings in the school, in churches, or any place for that matter. If God was truly present, we would not have loved ones close to us taken away from us in the prime of their lives. Today, we feel the pain. I know you feel the pain. We experience loss. I know you've experienced loss. And while we can get our hands on those things, sometimes, oftentimes, it just seems like we can't get our hands on God. The words of Psalm 46, God is our refuge, God is our strength, a very present help in time of trouble. How often does that seem more like wishful thinking than reality? God is our refuge, God is our strength, really? But I want to get real with you for a moment here. Consider this. Maybe, just maybe, it's not that our God is not real, our God is not present. Maybe it's more of a matter that we are not real and that we are not present with our God. Let's talk about being present. We live in a world that's filled with distraction after distraction. Today, more than any point in history, the distractions are greater than ever. Our phones. What a distraction from being present, oftentimes with those who are in the same room with us. Television. All of these things take away from being present with God and one another. And then there's material possessions. When we are well cared for in the material realm, what happens is we pray less. We sacrifice less. We pursue God less. And the message is easily watered down where there is less dependence in our lives on Christ. And then there's this picture. Look at that for a moment. Why is the dog happier? Because the dog is present there in the moment. Well, the man who is sitting next to him is present in all of these other things. Present in all of the worries and concerns and the anxieties of the world, rather than just being there, being present in the moment. And then think of just sheer busyness. Running here, running there, running everywhere. I find it very interesting. Here I was at the National Youth Gathering, and it was all about God being real and God being present. But the truth of the matter, we were busy, weren't we? And I have to say that in many ways, I felt less present with God during the middle of the youth gathering, all about God, because of all the busyness that we were engaged, running from one place to the next, going from one message to a study to an experience. It was hard to take time and just simply to reflect upon anything. And we did that as a group. We were rushed. And at the end of the day, we were pretty tired. In fact, I would say, next time go around, take this as a note, Rachel. We'll do reflection in the morning rather than at night after we're exhausted from everything. Then there's being real. If others saw us for who we are, if others knew the things that you really thought, if they truly knew the things that you did, we spend so much of our lives trying to hide, trying to put up a persona that's not really us. Think about our appearances. How many of us try to hide certain things about our appearance, covering ourselves up because of things we don't like about our bodies? We're asked, how are you doing? How are you doing? What's the response? Oh, everything's good. Even though it's not always good, is it? We say, I'm okay, you're okay, and that's okay. But you know what? When I'm okay, you're okay, that's not okay because that's not the truth. That's not real. Don't you find it funny then also on social media? How everybody on social media has perfect families, perfect lives. Everything is great. So what does God say in all of this? Psalm 46. Be still. Be still. In the midst of this, God is our refuge. God is our strength. The earth is crumbling. Everything is falling apart. In the midst of that, God says, be still. He says, be still and know that I am God. And when you are still, you will recognize how he is exalted among the nations, how he is exalted in all of the earth. I heard it somewhere along the way at the youth gathering. Another way of putting this verse, it's a little crass here, but instead of saying be still, shut up and pay attention. That's what it's saying. Stop trying to be something you're not. Stop trying to put on a face and give your attention to God. Put away the distractions. Be still. Listen. You shout that at your kids, don't you? In a world filled with crises and challenges, struggles, this takes intentionality. Because you know what? It is not our default. It is not my default to be still. It is my default to be distracted all of the time and to be busy all the time and to be doing something all the time because everything's got to get done. And I put it upon myself rather than trusting in God to make it happen. This is what Jesus says. Seek first. Seek first and foremost. Before you run after and chase anything else, hear from God. Listen to God. Know what God is speaking. Know what God would have you do. Because so often we're doing what we think God might have us do rather than actually hearing from God what he would actually have us do. Seek first from him. Hear from him first before anything else. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of these things will be added to you as well. You know, I shared this with the kids while we were at the gathering. I said, we're not still. And when we're not still, we have all of these other voices speaking into our lives. And the challenge is that when we're on our phone all the time, when we're watching television all the time, when we're busy as ever, the thing is we don't have time to think for ourselves. And the reality is all we have is what everybody else is telling us, who we should be, what we are, and what we should have. That's why God says, be still. Don't let the world tell you who you should be. Don't let the world tell you what you should believe. Don't let the world beat you down. Spend time with me. Be still with me. And let me speak into your life and give to you my peace, the peace that surpasses all understanding. God is real and he is present. It's interesting that when we come to the Lord's Supper, our Lutheran understanding of the Lord's Supper is the real presence. That God is, Jesus is truly and really present. That his body is present in the bread. And that his blood is present in the wine given for us. In the bread we discover the body. In the wine we discover the blood. And through these we discover the presence of Jesus. And then there's the cross. Think about the cross in itself. You know, Jesus does not promise to spare us from the sufferings in this world. Jesus doesn't promise to spare us from the challenges in this world. But he meets us in the midst of the struggle. He meets us in the challenges. He knows what it's like. He knows what you're going through because he went through it as well. He suffered. He died for you and me. He doesn't promise to give us all the answers. He doesn't promise to spare us the pain. He doesn't promise us that life will be easy. But what he does promise is that he'll walk with us every step of the way. And even more than being with us, he promises us ultimate victory. And as a result, we can say these words. Therefore, we will not fear. Because we know Jesus is present in our lives. We know he is real, more real than the pain, more real than the suffering. The suffering and the pain of this world is temporary, but Jesus and our relationship with him is eternal. Though the earth gives way, the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though the waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. That sounds like an uproar. That is some crazy stuff going on there. But through it all, Therefore, we will not fear, because God is real and God is present. I want to end this way. Psalm 46. You've heard it a couple times now. You heard it read by Sylvia. You heard it in the video. But I want us together just to recite these words, because there's power in the word. Maybe you don't believe God's real. Even after all I've said here today, maybe you don't believe God's real, that God is present, that the struggle seems more real than our God seems real. But in the word, there is power. And it is through the word that God speaks truth into our hearts. So this morning, I want you to join with me to speak truth with your lips so that you might believe it in your heart. Let's join together in these words. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though the waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in her, and she shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come, behold the works of the Lord. He has brought desolations on the earth. He makes war cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. As we